Hey guys, Jonathan Soto here, and today we will be doing a ranking video. And the topic I want to rank today is all 5 seasons of the show Stranger Things. Now, if you guys saw my last video, I reviewed Stranger Things Season 5, the final season. So now we have all 5 seasons, the whole show is complete. Now it is the perfect time to stop and rank every single season from worst to best. If you guys saw my last video, I went over all my thoughts of the new season and I went over like how much this show actually means to me. This show is actually my favorite show of all time. I'll just say that right off the bat. I really love this show. It is my biggest obsession and I've had a huge impact on this show ever since season 2 first aired back in 2017. Well, it was a few months after season 2 first aired when I first started watching this show. I was only like 12 when I first saw this show. Like I said in my last video, this show has really gotten me through my youth years. It's helped me a lot throughout the years. It always makes me feel better about myself. It gives such good advice, this show. This show gives off the most beautiful advice I've ever seen in any teen show. Most of what the characters say to help themselves feel better is actually very resonating to a lot of people, including myself. The characters in the show feel very real. Despite all the supernatural and all the elements that are very unreal, the characters in it really carry this show. They make this entire show. It's not what happens, it's not the events, it's not the horror, it's not the suspense, it's not the freaking Demogorgons. The entirety of what makes this show so amazing and why I love this show so much is literally the characters. They are truly astounding characters. They have so much good development within every single season, and in every season, you just feel for them so much. You sympathize so much for these characters, you care for them, you have fun with them when they're having fun, you cry when they're crying, and you just don't want anything bad to happen to them at all. The characters are really what you watch this show for. This show is so good. Every single season is great. There is not a single bad season in this show whatsoever. So any placements these shows are in, they're not even that far apart from each other in terms of ranking. They're literally just hairs apart from each other. They're all masterpieces, I would say, except for one season though. And I'm sure a lot of you know which season that is, but without further ado, let's get right into this ranking. Coming in at number 5, I have Stranger Things Season 5. Yeah, was this really a surprise to anybody? I'm pretty sure everybody was disappointed by the season. This season was super duper underwhelming in every single way. There was not anything that exceeded my expectations whatsoever. This whole season just felt completely dry, completely uneventful, completely lacking of stakes, emotionless. This season was totally missing what made every single other season so damn great. This season just feels like okay or good but not great. It doesn't feel like amazing and masterful like all the other seasons. Literally all the other seasons I would say are A-tier masterpieces. Not this one though. This one does not even come close to that. This season does not compare to the other seasons in my opinion. Don't even get me started with the freaking final battle. The way this show ends, the way they end the villains is so disappointing. They barely even have any fight whatsoever. That whole final battle could have lasted so much longer. There was so much missing in that final battle. And they just treat everything that they set up like garbage. They literally take everything they set up like a big bag of garbage and then just throw it in the dump. Literally. Why set up these villains to be these big, unstoppable beings, having them do all these crazy things in the other seasons, just for them to come off extremely weak in this season? Made no sense whatsoever. It just felt completely rushed. This season had very underutilized characters too. I'll say that as well. In all the other seasons, every single character had such beautiful character development, so much emotion to them. Their acting was phenomenal. But in this season, the performances just feel so off for some reason. Especially Millie Bobby Brown, who I think in this season does not even play 11. I feel like in this season, she's literally just playing Millie Bobby Brown with powers. It doesn't even feel like 11 in this season. She's so underutilized this season. There's barely any character development. She's not even acting slow like she did in the other seasons. Remember all the other seasons? Her grammar was off, her talking was off, her interacting was off. In this season, all of that doesn't even feel there. She just automatically got a brain switch, so that's why I say it just feels like Millie Bobby Brown in this season, not the character of 11, the badass that was 11 in all the other seasons, that was powerful, menacing, brave. I loved 11 in the other seasons, how much you sympathized with her. In this season, literally all she does is just stick her lip out the entire season, like, that's all she does in this season. Mike was also super underutilized this season. I just felt like he was literally just there. He didn't even have much character development either. He doesn't feel much like a character. He just feels like an assistant in this season. And then we get on to Nancy. In all the other seasons, Nancy has such a cool story to her. She would have such good, sympathetic stories, and you felt for her the entire season. Every other season. But in this season, there's barely anything to do with her whatsoever. She also feels like how Mike does, just like an assistant. All she does is literally just help fight, and that's it. As far as other underutilized characters in this season, Joyce, Murray, and Dr. K. What an extremely underdeveloped villain she was. All she felt like she was there was to just be like, oh, I'm a bad guy. Let's go after 11. I need to do all these things. I need to get this done because I'm a bad guy. That's literally all she felt like in this season. And the only thing that felt cool about her was her plan to revitalize Papa's labs and make more test subjects of 11. But I didn't really feel the emotion in that story, to be honest. I didn't feel any sort of weight with that story. It was cool that we got an explanation of how 11 got her powers through Vecna's blood, but just didn't really go much anywhere in that. And where does she even go in the end? And Vecna. Oh my goodness, Vecna did not even feel like a threat at all this season. Compared to season 4, he feels very, very different this season, honestly. He does not feel like the intelligent, strong Vecna that can literally see everybody, who can literally see their every steps that they're doing, and he's putting full watch on them and knows what to do. He doesn't feel like that in this season. In this season, they just make him slow, they make him dumb. Vecna was terribly written in this season, I thought. The fact that he lures kids, but the kids aren't even having any sense of not to talk to any strangers like their parents raised them to do, just felt so weird. It felt so lazily written. He just felt like Dr. K in this season, where he was just a big bad guy who wanted to destroy the world, and there wasn't really much emotion with him like in season 4. This season also gave us a whole bunch of unanswered questions that were completely left out of the blue. And that is very frustrating considering freaking the Duffer Brothers told us all questions will be answered in season 5, da 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 da. The Duffers are complete liars. They were making this season out to be the coolest season ever, the grand magnum opus of the show that was going to have a satisfying ending, that they were going to completely avoid a Game of Thrones ending, and they just did the exact opposite of what they were saying. I cannot believe them. I just can't. After all these years we've been through with them, after all these years they've been in this show and putting care through every single character, every single plot line, and literally in season 4 they added so many unnecessary plot lines in there. Just for them to cut out a whole bunch of things missing in this season, cut out a whole bunch of good ideas that they could have easily went to. I don't know what was up with the Duffers this season. Back to the unanswered questions. Where were the Demogorgons in the finale? Where the freak were these Demogorgons at? Nowhere in sight. Not even one in the finale to help Vecna or the Mind Flayer. They're never seen or heard from again. And then we have Dimension X. Dimension X barely even got any sort of backstory, any sort of lore, really. There's so much unanswered questions left with the dimension that Vecna was staying in. They explained what the Upside Down was, but we never really got much information for Dimension X, honestly, and it didn't feel like a mysterious place like Upside Down was. If you remember, in season 1, they made the Upside Down look completely horrifying, completely eerie. In every way, this was a scary place. in Dimension X, it just looks like some sort of Marvel movie. It would literally be a place where the freaking Avengers would fight Thanos. It did not look compelling whatsoever. There was no sense of mystery or awe in Dimension X at all. And then there were also so many missing characters that never got mentioned either. Like, what happened to Argyle in season 4? Where did Susie go? Where is freaking Sam Owens? Sam Owens, where is he? We never got any explanation of if he left that place, if he went back to his home, if the military captured him. Nothing. Nothing with Sam Owens. That's the biggest mystery. That's the biggest question I've had. Another thing too, this season didn't really feel like there were much of any stakes whatsoever, especially if you compare it to its previous season. In this season, it just feels like they just know what they're doing. They're just doing this. Oh, step 1, check. Step 2, check. We gotta do this, check. And they do it so easily. Like, there's barely any sense of tension or any sense of suspense in anything they really do, really. And it all just happens so quickly. That this whole season literally just happened so damn quickly. There's no sense of nostalgia or any sense of 80s in this season at all. I will say this though, there are some things this season did better than season 4. Some things though. Like, at least it was more grounded this time. At least the pacing felt a little bit more smoother. But this season's pacing also felt really weird too. At least there wasn't so much dragged out subplots in this season that were very unnecessary and I thought could have easily been cut out in season 4. But then again, there's also a lot of things season 4 did much better. I don't even have to get through all that because I'm pretty sure all of you guys can already tell me. And a lot of the season, a lot of it with them trying to make emotional scenes, a lot of it just came off more cheesy than emotional. The way the scenes play out. Don't even get me started with Will's coming out scene, which I just thought was cringy in every single way. Coming in at 4th place, we now have season 2. I am going to defend this season until the day I die. This is an amazing season of television. I really, really love season 2, and I always have. I don't care what any of the haters say. I really, really don't see why people put so much hate on this season. I mean, I know there's episode 7 that just completely ruins the season, but just forget about episode 7. Just completely forget about episode 7, pretend it's not there, and just look at the rest of the season for what it really is. It's such a good season of the show. They get the characters so right in this season. The performances are completely on point this season. Much, much better than season 5. This season is filled to the brim with so much emotion in it. The characters are fabulous in this season. This is where the show had its completely right footing in it. I really love how this season also introduced to us a lot of beloved characters we love in this show. That is Max, Billy, Murray, the Mind Flayer, and best of all, Bob Newby. He is the sweetest character I have ever seen in the entire show, and one of the sweetest characters I've ever seen in any show or movie. I really, really like this guy. He's so cool. I'm so glad he joined the group, and he actually was helping them with stuff. He helped them find Hopper and the Upside Down. He was being so supportive and loving for the new family he has now, and he was so thankful for it. It was so cute. And it was so heartbreaking what happened to him. He did not deserve that whatsoever. He did not have to go down like that at all. This season has a whole lot more heart in it than season 5 did. You feel that the Duffers still cared for this show in this season. You still feel that they cared for the world they were building up. They were expanding on the world of Stranger Things more, and they did such a good job with that. They introduced a bunch of other stuff that makes the show so great. They introduced some of the show's best duos like Steve and Dustin. This is where we first get to see them become best friends, and it is so awesome in this season to see how they become the closest of friends and the bestest of friends. A real brotherhood right there. That is what you call a brotherhood right there. Steve and Dustin were such a sick duo. This was the perfect way to introduce that duo, and this became legendary. And Will in this season, I feel like this season is definitely the best version of Will we've seen in the entire show. In season 5, he was cool, but he had a lot of cringy moments. His acting was a little off. His usage of his powers, I felt, was super underutilized in that season, like many other things were. But season 2, he has so much weight and charisma to him. You feel for him entirely. You want him to just be happy, but he's just going through complete hell in this season. It is so, so sad. Everything Will goes through, it just crushes you the same way it crushes Will. And yes, this season has a whole bunch of mystery, a whole bunch of suspense in it, a lot of stakes in it. You feel what the characters are going through, that they are in so much danger, especially since they don't have Elle helping them out in this season. Elle is doing her own thing this season, while the characters are left doing all of this by themselves. And Elle doesn't even come to show up to help them till the very last episode. And yeah, I think everyone knows the biggest flaw of season 2, which I already covered. There's one episode you can easily just skip that just feels completely out of place. They could have easily just cut that episode out, I thought. Easily, especially considering Callie didn't even do much in season 5 at all. This whole episode just feels painfully unneeded. The only thing that it really does is just give Eleven a little boost for the 9th episode, but that could have easily just happened any other way. Any other way at all. Hopper could have probably given her that boost she needed to close the gate. And the Halloween autumn feel in this season was beautiful. It was perfectly fitted for this season. There's a lot more horror in this season, especially the Mind Flayer, who is terrifying. Just to look at him gives me the chills. They did such an awesome job with the Mind Flayer this season, but they did not do him justice in season 5, sadly. It was just adorable to see Dustin have a pet. And then we have Nancy and Jonathan first falling in love. Elle closing the gate. The snowball dance. Oh my goodness, how beautiful of an epilogue that was. Either that or Hopper's letter was my favorite epilogue in the entire show. But this was such a touching ending. The snowball dance was just so, so sweet. But here's where I get to my other flaws about this season, though. That's not just episode 7, and it's why I put this season kind of low. My other flaws with this season is I feel like a smidge of it is a little bit slow. Just a smidge of it, though. Nothing too crazy. Nothing like season 5, that's for sure. And another thing is I feel like this season doesn't have as much memorable moments as other seasons do. I feel like the only scene in this season that's truly memorable would be when Elle closes the gate. And every other scene other than that, like if you asked your friend what they remembered about season 2, I think that's pretty much the first thing that'll come into their minds and they won't think of anything else. And it just arguably was not as strongly written as its previous season was. And I felt like a lot of it felt very similar to the first season, honestly. Like Joyce filling up her whole house with things to solve a mystery. And another flaw that I have is the story at times didn't really feel much there, actually. It felt like a lot of it was happening with no clear plot or no clear motive or direction for it to go to. There wasn't really much plot this season, I would say, and I would say that this season had the weakest plot of the entire series, to be honest. But don't get me wrong, everything else that happens in it, all the events really, really pay off. With the story feeling like it wasn't there much, it also made the pacing feel very, very odd too. This season did not feel as well balanced and as well focused as the first season was. So for that, this season falls a little bit short. In third place, we now have season 4. This might actually be a hot take for a lot of Stranger Things fans, especially considering the giant fan base this season actually has. This season has a ton of fans. A lot of people put this season as their number 1, and I don't blame them for it. I can heavily see why they put season 4 at number 1. This is a sick season of the show. Awesome season. This season gets so much right about this show. Season 4 is definitely the most darkest and most scariest season, and I give it high props for that. This season was terrifying. My goodness. There was so much horror in this season. This season had the best horror of the show right next to season 1, I would say. This had the most suspense, the most high-end stakes. My goodness, the stakes in this season, you just felt them all the way through. It was so tenseful. It had you at the edge of your seat the entire time. This season was awesome. But I do have a little bit of flaws with this season, quite a bit more than a little, honestly. There's a lot of things in this season that do annoy me, actually, and I really don't see how they don't annoy other people too. The main one being the entire useless, highly unnecessary, and irritating Jock story. Man, do I hate that story. I hate that story with such a large passion. There was barely even any need for this story whatsoever. It barely went anywhere plot wise. It had so much unnecessary screen time. I absolutely hated Jason with a passion. Jason is the worst character this show has ever come up with, right next to Angela. Oh, and Angela in this season is also a very annoying character too. Everyone hates Angela, but I feel like Jason deserves more hate than her, because Jason, there's just nothing compelling to him whatsoever. His entire story could have easily just been cut out, because it really didn't even go much of anywhere. I don't even know why Jason got so much screen time. It was disgusting, it was irritating, annoying. I could not stand him whatsoever. He just wouldn't listen the entire season. Every time people would tell him repetitively, over and over again, that Hellfire was just a harmless club of D&D, and he just saw everything in such an ugly, negative side, and he didn't even bother to listen after all the times they would tell him that. There was even a scene where they were in court, and he just brushes off Erica completely, and it's like, dude, you could easily just listen to a little girl. She's just a harmless little girl. And then they go and tackle her at the end. And then they could have just easily ended this story when Jason saw his friend got lifted up and Eddie ran away. Eddie just jumps right out of the boat. He swims away. He's so scared. He doesn't know what's happening. But Jason just keeps going and going and going. Like, if Eddie was a part of a cult, he would have stayed on the boat and would have looked like he was doing some sort of power on him. But Jason just keeps going the entire next level to a freaking tower. He is annoying. I cannot bear with him at all. They could have easily just made Chrissy single, and this season would have saved a lot more time. Another flaw I have with this season was the Russia story. I mean, it's not really a flaw, to be honest. I actually really do like the story. I think it has some of the best action that the show has had to offer, but it does feel very out of place compared to everything else that's happening in this season. Like, whenever we cut back to this season, I feel like we're watching a different show, actually. This whole story, I felt really dragged on for an extremely long, vast amount of time. It didn't offer much to the main story, honestly, to the main story in Hawkins at all, and it just felt like a whole side quest. I feel the Russia story was super slow at times, actually. Another flaw I have with this season was, along with those two subplots, I feel like there could have also been a lot of other things that could have been cut out in this season too. That's my biggest issue with this entire season, was I feel like it added way too much to it, and they could have cut out so much of it out. They could have easily just made the season a whole lot more grounded. A lot of it could have been as well focused and paced as the other seasons were, easily too, but they just had to drag on with so many other things too, like the van story. I feel like that whole story also dragged on a lot longer than it should have too. And don't even get me started with the weird scene in Susie's house, which I feel also could have been trimmed down easily too. They could have easily just made Susie's house just be limited to 2 or 3 kids in the house. That was way too many kids. This whole scene I felt so out of left field, so unneeded. It did not fit well with the vibe of this season at all. That whole scene I just thought was cringe. And they could have easily just made that scene a whole lot more simple. Compared to the other stories other than the Hawkins one, which was easily the best of the stories, easily the most compelling, the most riveting, just the one that you relied on the most, that you cared for the most, easily the one that had the best flow. The whole Hawkins story in season 4, I thought, was peak Stranger Things in every way in its entirety. It was very interesting for us to take it back all the way to the beginning, to where Eleven was first trained. what she went through in the lab in full detail, what that lab did to the other kids, and a lot of it was dark. Despite the things that could have been trimmed out, everything else is awesome. All the stuff that you see was definitely needed there, was extremely needed there. All the stuff that works in this season works perfectly and beautifully. The running up that hill scene, everyone knows about that scene. Perfection, just pure perfection in every way. One of the coolest scenes in the entire show, if not the coolest. The introduction to Vecna in this season and how menacing of a villain he really is. Wow, this guy is evil. He is horrifying. His dialogue was completely Oscar worthy in this season. He had the highest of highs in this season. He actually thought he was gonna win, and we thought he was gonna win too. Like, we were actually thinking that this time it might not work out so well for our heroes. And Eddie Munson, what an awesome character that is. What a loving presence in this show. He's so full of care, so full of goodness, so full of kindness. He's funny. He doesn't care what anyone thinks of him. He just does him all the time. He does not care if people think he's weird. He could care too less of what the town thinks of him, thinking he's a murderer and all this, because he knows who he himself is. He knows he's innocent, and he has his friends to support him completely. And everyone knows that he is definitely one of the best characters in the entire show, and he stole this season, honestly. And don't even get me started of where his character ended. And the soundtrack was awesome this season. This was also the most emotional season of the show. It makes you cry so damn much. I remember watching this season for the first time. It really got me. You really feel what Max and Eleven go through in this season. And the topic of trauma in this season, I thought that was an incredible topic for this show to cover. Trauma has really been a huge part of Stranger Things. From season 1 all the way to season 4, trauma has really hit the party extremely hard. And you just see it all happen through their very eyes this entire season. I almost want to call this season a masterpiece, but the flaws that I previously mentioned really do bug me. There are just 2 seasons of this show that I will always love more than this season. 2 seasons of the show that flow beautifully, perfectly. There's just not a single thing wrong with how they flow. They have the best stories, the best character development, the times where I care about the characters the most. The first season on that list, this might also be a hot take for some others, but at number 2, I have season 3. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you guys should know that season 3 has always been my number 1 favorite season of the entire show. And it still is, don't get me wrong, despite it being number 2. I really badly want to put this season at number 1. Oh my gosh, I want to put this at number 1. This has every single reason to be number 1, but there's just one season that does it just a crumb better. Literally just by a crumb. But this season, I made a video for this back in 2024, a re-review if you will, saying why I think season 3 is the best season of the show. I would say it's my favorite, but there's one season where I would say is definitively the best season of the show, but this is my personal comfort favorite season that I always like to go back to. This is the season that I've actually rewatched the most of the whole show. This is the season where I have the most fun with the characters. The season literally just has everything that I ever want from a show or a movie, and it combines so many things and so many genres in it beautifully. It feels so dark, yet so fun, so funny, yet so scary. It combines horror and comedy in such an awesome way. No other season of television have I ever seen that has balanced them two so perfectly as this season did. Like I said, this season is where I care the most for the characters. I literally feel like I'm having fun with these characters as they are on a summer vacation. I really love the summer feel. The aesthetic of this season is absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the most beautiful looking pieces of film that I have ever seen in my entire life. It has so much colors in it, so much neon in it, so much heart and thought put in every single set piece in this season. Not a single set piece looks even unfinished or lacking something or feels dry. Every single set piece was so well designed, and the story in this season was awesome. I would say season 4 had the best story of the show, but this definitely has the most wildly creative story the entire show has ever given us, and I literally feel like I'm on a summer adventure in this season. A whole Russian lab being built underneath a mall is so ridiculous, but it's so fun though. It's so wild, and like I said, it feels like an adventure, and it just feels so 80s. This is the most nostalgic season of the show, and the nostalgia factor in this season was done magnificently. And I love the other story in this season too, that's just complete horror. With the Mind Flayer being back, with him possessing more people, he has more hosts now. He's building an army to form an entire monster to kill 11 and to steal her powers. This story had so much tense and weight in it. This was actually my favorite story in the entire season. It wasn't the Scoops Troops like a lot of people say it is. I really liked the whole Griswold family story the most, because I feel like that's where things went the most down. And not only that, before things completely go down in that story, I was so satisfied watching the kids just hang out, watching them have their moody teen problems. I just found all that hilarious. And the scenes with Elle and Max were so satisfying. They were so fun. You literally felt like you were going shopping with them too. Oh, and Starcourt Mall in this season. What an awesome location this show has had to offer. This was the most perfect setting for the show. It was so beautiful. It was so well designed. The Starcourt Mall was the best setting that this show has ever created, and I'm so glad that we spent so much time in this mall. I so badly want to go to Starcourt. This is the only season of the show where I would actually feel like I'm relaxed while watching it. I feel in such a mood when I watch this season. I feel so chill. The season is so beautifully moody, and the vibes are the best vibes this show has ever given. They are truly immaculate. Other than the funness of this season, the season is still really dark. It still keeps its very dark tropes as its previous seasons did. Like the Mind Flayer meat monster is a truly horrifying villain who just ups the stakes so much. What an intelligent, smart monster that is. And Billy in this season, Billy is a badass in this season. The fact that he gets a bigger story, you care for Billy so much in this season, and you feel so bad of what he has to go through. And then we also have the scene with Elle's leg. Oh my goodness, that scene is terrifyingly graphic. People don't even give this scene much credit at all. I feel like this scene is very forgotten, but it is one of the most underrated scenes, if not the most underrated scene of the entire show, because it is disgusting in a good way though. But you just feel that scene. You feel Eleven's pain. This scene literally makes me shield my eyes every single time I watch it. Oh, and how can I not go on without mentioning the never-ending story scene? Awesome scene, an extremely cute scene, and I loved how that was trending and popping so much back in 2019. Oh, and Grigory in this season, I almost forgot to mention him. The fact that they added the Terminator in this season was perfect. He was also a very sick presence in the show too. He fit the show so nicely. He really added a lot more stakes to Hopper and Joyce's story, and he was such a menacing villain throughout the entire season. And the Russians in this season, I thought, also fit the show so nicely too. Because you can't do the 80s without USA versus the Soviet Union. I know there's a lot of questions of how they built that whole base in the first place with very little time, but I don't care. I don't care at all. I have my own theories to prove that, and one of them being, if they can create a doorway to another dimension, imagine the other things they can do too. The Russians were a very badass presence in this show, and it just made it feel even more 80s. Like kids trying to unfold a Russian mystery in their mall. It just screams the 80s right there. And that's what makes the Scoops Troop story even fun. Oh, and the characters in that story are a lot of fun as well. Steve and Dustin, their brotherhood growing, and you really see that they care for each other deeply in this season. The introduction of Robin in this season was also great. She was also an amazing character in this season. Robin in this season, I don't know what happened to her in the rest of the show, but in this this season, she has such a loving presence, and you just love seeing her on screen. She's such a genius. She's so funny. She's so bold. Oh, and the new character of Alexi in this season, he was also, yet again, a hilarious character in this season. The writers in this season did such an amazing job with Alexi, because you don't even understand a single word he says, yet you still love him. You still root for him. You still care for him, because you can tell that he wants to do good. He sees that what the Russians are doing is actually bad, and he doesn't want to be a part of them anymore. He wants to help take them down. That was such a cool character arc right there, and I really wanted to see more of him. I really wish he had lived on to the finale episode and would have met all the kids. Imagine how cool that would have been if he met the kids. And the whole cherry Slurpee scene, don't even get me started with how much that scene makes me crack up every time I watch it. No cherry, no deal. And no, please don't get me started with the way they ended him. Literally one of the saddest deaths I have ever seen in any show or movie. Hopper was also hilarious in this season too. Some people say that they ruined Hopper in this season, that he's very differently acted than he was in the first two seasons, but I don't think that at all. I think Hopper is just a very funny presence in this season, and he has a lot of emotion to him actually, especially with his relationship with Elle. In any way he doesn't want to let go of her, and that's including her going off with Mike. The letter he wrote was beautiful. It has me in tears every single time I watch it. And like I said, this season has such an amazing, beautiful, smooth flow to it. There's not a single scene, a single plot line that needs to be cut out from this season. Everything has its fitting. Not a single character or scene is even at the slightest wasted. Everything had its purpose, and I really like when the seasons do that. Unlike season 4, this season doesn't feel too short nor too long. It doesn't feel too much nor too little. It's just the perfect balance right in the middle. This is a damn near perfect season of the show, and I will never, ever understand the hate it gets. For some reason, I see that the fan base tends to give hate to this season because it's so different than the other seasons. It doesn't have that gloomy feel as the other seasons do. It has a bright feel that some people find over the top. I don't find that over the top at all. I personally find that perfect. And this show had to change up its feel one way or another. It just had to do something different one way or another. And this is only just one time that it's done it. And for a one and done thing, it was a brilliant idea, a smart idea for them to do, for just in the middle season of the show to just be a fun 80s blockbuster. I couldn't have asked for a better middle portion of the show, I would say. And anyone who says this season is bad or says it's the worst season of the show, you are automatically not my friend at all, and I already have serious beef with you. Okay, I can respect many opinions of shows and movies, people not liking a certain movie that I like or a certain show I don't like. I can respect that, but the one and only opinion that I will never respect, that I take so much offense in, that I do not take lightly whatsoever, is someone saying this season is bad. Because I will never ever understand that at all. But I will say though that there are two flaws that I have with this season that also don't make me put it at number 1. It's just two little flaws though. One of the flaws being, I feel like some of the characters in this season aren't developed as much as they needed to be. I mean, it's not as bad as season 5, or in season 4, there were also some pretty underutilized characters too, I gotta say. But in this season, I feel like there should have been a bit more character development with some characters like Lucas and Jonathan and Will. I mean, Will had a really, really nice moment in this season that I was very, very touched by. I feel like Lucas and Max's relationship wasn't much here in this season. I feel like there should have been a lot more with Lucas and Max's relationship, especially compared to season 4 when they really make that one of the key elements of that season. I feel like Will should have had a lot more to do in this season too, instead of just being in the background, especially after all that we saw him do in season 2. But I can completely forgive that though, considering considering that this season is supposed to be about Elle. This is where we see Elle use the most of her powers, seeing her be the biggest badass she has ever been before, and really seeing her be as protective and brave as she can possibly be to save the world once again. And my second flaw with the season was I also feel like the Russia story was pretty underdeveloped too. Like I said, the Russia story I thought was pretty dope in this season, but I feel like there should have been a lot more backstory to it. Like, how did they find out about the gate? How did they open up that whole base underground? There should have been more backstory to Grigory, to how he became the Russians' best bounty hunter. There should have been more explanation as to how they created that machine too. But for what we have, though, it's still pretty cool, and I can look past that too. Other than that, my comfort season, the season I will always cling to, and the season that I will always have the hugest soft spot for. But the one season of the show that is completely perfect in every single way, no flaw to it whatsoever, the best character development, the best suspense, the most mystery, the most aura, the most heart and thought put into it, the most interesting, the most perfectly well flowed season. Season 1. Season 1, I have always said, was my second favorite season. It still is, but I put it number 1 just because it really, really is the best season of the whole show. This is pure Stranger Things in every way. This is the season that started it all. When I first watched this season, man, was I glued to the freaking TV. Everything, and I mean everything, has its perfect fitting in this entire season. There is not a single moment that drags in this season. Not a single moment. Not even a freaking second drags in this season. Everything happens in such a tense way. This season gives the best performances of the show, I gotta say. The best performance of Winona Ryder as Joyce. The best performance of Millie Bobby Brown as Eleven. And like I said, yes, the character development is completely on point in this season. This is the only season where every single character has such wonderful character development. You are completely invested in every single character in this season. Not a single character feels wasted. Every single character has its fitting in this season. They all have their awesome roles. This is the season that introduced us to our most beloved characters in the entire show, and Eleven in this season is awesome. I love the introduction of her, the fact that she keeps getting chased by Papa. The whole story with Papa and the lab, wow. Like, just wow. What a creative element in this show. The whole mystery and aura of that lab was so eerie. And the kids in this season, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin, what an awesome trio that is. They are such cool and relatable characters that you can so cling to, and you just feel the emotion with them trying to find their friend Will. You feel their emotion with them just the same as you feel it with Joyce. They won't rest until they find their friend. This season has a very simple yet extremely compelling and investing story, I would say. Just them trying to look for Will, trying to look for just one missing kid, all along with another missing person. The story in this season, you're just all hooked into it. This season is filled to the brim with nothing but emotion, and you feel it all throughout. And the story with Nancy trying to find Barb, you also heavily sympathize for Nancy in this season too. And you get to see how sick Nancy is. She has such good aim when she shoots. She's just so well trained without even having any sort of training before ever in the past. Like, she was born to do this. And the Demogorgon, what a creepy presence in this season. In this entire show even, but in this season especially, the Demogorgon has so much mystery to him. He's so terrifying to look at. He was so well thought out too. He was so well designed. He's a simple villain, yet he's extremely spine-chilling. It's just a creature who's completely unknown, who's going after children, who's from an off-world dimension that we know nothing about. And the Upside Down in this season, they really make the Upside Down extremely horrifying in this season. They never ever brought back this vibe of the upside down in the other seasons, but this vibe, man, was it creepy. And the soundtrack to this season was the best that this show has ever done. It just hits different. And this is also the season that gives me the most nostalgia, right next to season 3. The season just brings back so many memories for me back when I was in middle school and I was largely obsessed with small town horror movies and books and shows. And I was obsessed with the book It, and I wanted to see more of that. If anyone knows me back in middle school, I'm pretty sure a lot of you remember how much I would ramble on and on and on to a bunch of people of how much I loved It and how much I loved Stranger Things. And I have been so obsessed with this since middle school, but such good memories when I first saw this show. This show was literally made for me when it first came out, and it still is now. And if it weren't for It, because It was what got me into this show in the first place, because I wanted to see more of what was more similar to this book. So then I got introduced to this show, and I'm so glad that I did. And I like this show a little bit more than It, but they are both awesome. So yeah, that's my ranking of this entire magnum opus of a show. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and comment down below what your guys' rankings are as well. I am very interested to see your guys' opinions about this show in the comments too. Did you guys agree with my ranking? Did you guys disagree with my ranking? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys can stay tuned for more content that I'm gonna make on this channel. Bye, and see you all in the next review.